Hi guys, and welcome to another Brushmaster video. I've got some footage that I've taken straight from my stream today on how I painted tartan on this little halfling lady. It came out really nicely, and a lot of my followers said we'd love to see a tutorial on that. And I looked at my footage on Twitch, and it's come out pretty good, pretty clear, and I thought I could just pull it into the editor and just give you a little bit of narration over the top. I won't go overboard because a lot of it is very similar. This footage is sped up to about 8 times so that I can condense it down to about 14-15 minutes. So getting started now with these stripes. The color I used here was a couple of colors from AK Interactive, which is intermediate green, and I've mixed that with brown. And the reason I've done that is because I wanted this green to be quite a muddy dark green, and I'm painting this tartan over a very dark violet, which is, it's a sort of amethyst blue or chimera violet, I think it was. So it's quite a dark way, and it works lovely for this type of tartan. So at the moment what you'll see is I'm painting all the long stripes or vertical stripes, whatever you want to call them. And the whole way of painting tartan like this is to paint all the stripes one way, and then you've got to paint the same sort of size stripes perpendicular to those stripes. So you end up with a checkerboard effect of very, but they have to be very square. And you'll see here a couple of occasions where I go back to the chimera purple or violet and I have to touch up bits which I've felt are not quite right. Those are the things you'd normally cut out of an edited video, but you'll see them briefly here sometimes. So here I'm starting to paint the stripes the other way. So these are the cross stripes, which is going to cause the squares. And you might have just seen previously, I started them at one point and looked at them and thought, they're not right, they're at the wrong angle. They have to be absolutely square for tartan, not as I did, trying to follow the pattern of the cloth. So what I did here is I found a middle point where I could paint one dead square, and then I've worked off of that up and down and along, which actually made them work really well. So finding like one in the middle like I did and painting that square is a really good way to work off of that and paint, like as I say, everything surrounding that, but using that central one as a reference of your square point. And it's literally just doing as I did before. I'm just painting crossways this time, trying to keep them all around the same width. It's very hard to do over a cloak. And these ones were much more difficult with the long ones, because here I found having to paint in and out of folds, it can be really difficult to try and sort of line them up and get them the same size. And a lot of the time I found that because my paint's it's quite thin and quite wet, and I don't have a lot on the brush, it was quite easy at times to sort of roughly brush across where I think it was going to be, and then use that as a guideline to sort of then fill in the gaps in between. But yeah, going through this is the second part of the process, really, is getting all the cross lines in there. And the part I'm doing here is probably one of the most important parts, is where all the lines cross, there needs to be a lighter coloured square of green to give it that sort of tartan effect. It really helps. And here I'm using just the pure intermittent green, or intermediate green, which is what I made the main colour from. So this green, although it's subtle, it really does help with the effect of the tartan. As you see at the end, it's a really nice effect. And don't forget, guys, if you could subscribe, give us a thumbs up and hit that notification bell. That really helps the channel to grow. So we're mixing up now. What I'm using now is blood red from AK. It's quite a bright red, but I'm putting it on quite thin. So when it dries, it's actually not that really bright saturated red. I wanted something a little bit more saturated here, because you've got to have that contrast. But this red is used just to paint these very thin lines all over the cloak. And I start off with painting them all inside the green stripes, but then you have to also paint them in between those as well, so across all the purple areas like I'm doing here. And this is what gives it that really lovely tartan effect, with these little tiny red pinstripes all over. This took quite a while with some thin paint. I had to go over some of them several times to build up the opacity. And the last step I done in painting this tartan is to outline everything with a very light orange. And I know this sort of seems a bit strange, but I looked at some reference pictures and this light orange edging really finishes it off. So I decided, I was in two minds whether to do it or not, but I thought, no, I'm going to try it. And it really does finish the tartan off. This sort of outer orange outline or glow, whatever, really does make this tartan pop. I think it really finishes it off lovely. And I think the color I used was light rust from AK Interactive, and it just finished it off really nicely. And that was the final part, guys. We'll have a quick look at her. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I think she came out really nice. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on another Brushmaster video.